To. Anyway, I've been using this Lose It application, and it's on your iPhone and everything. Everybody say hi to Troy in Provo, Utah.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, Troy.
Hey, how's it going, gentlemen?
This is
good.
John is in Florida. Anthony is in Sacramento,
Ohio.
Ohio. Same thing. Why do I always think you're a California boy?
I'm born and raised a California boy.
That's it. So what are you doing in Ohio?
Well, I moved out here to be with my family.
And you love the winters.
Well, I do. It's a nice change, actually. At times, it's a nice change when it doesn't hang on for too long.
You had all those politicians there yesterday, or day before, didn't you?
Yeah, there's some stuff going on. I don't watch the news so much, but
I would. I'd throw my TV out the window if I knew all these politicians are coming to town. Is it me, or are these horrible commercials starting way too early?
Way too early. Labor Day is when they should start.
It should start November 13th.
There you go.
I'll give them 24 hours. that's about it.
Well, hopefully I'll have my coaching website for you, at least a mock-up for you to look at here in the next week or so. I got the Pro Housing Solutions is up.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Tell Anthony is one of my newest students, Troy. Anthony and I are kind of brainstorming about real estate, and Anthony came up with a really good idea because he has a very strong health care background, and he's looking into doing coaching and consulting in healthcare for people who want to have a healthier, better life. And we're kind of formulating a business plan. We've been doing mind maps and stuff every time we talk because I love this topic. Because I get a lot of newsletters on health and everything, and my wife and I are both health nuts. I mean, you know, I'm probably the only mentor who has V8 on his desk. Okay. Low sodium V8, Anthony.
Well, can you guys hear me? Is my mic working?
Yes, your mic is
working fine.
Okay, good.
John has a very interesting background, and tell Troy what you do, John.
Well, right now I trade futures and options, and I want to do some coaching in that. But I'm also to get the capital. I've been in real estate my whole life, different, not the way we're doing it today with other people's money. No, I always did it the conventional way, did building and developing and everything. But now I'm actually marketing, and I got my yellow letters out. The calls are coming in. I think I mentioned to you last week, Claude, that I get a number of hang-ups, and you said I should call those people. I haven't really bothered to call those guys yet. I need to maybe have you portray me once or twice and see how you handle them. So
let's role play. Okay, you called them up. What did you say before they?
No. I didn't call them up. I sent out a letter, a simple yellow letter, on the yellow letter stock, and it says, I'm an investor. I'd like to buy your home at blah blah blah. And this is going to a list I bought from U.S. Lead List, which is mostly probate stuff, inherited properties, that type of stuff.
Okay.
And some of the people are very, very accommodating. I haven't had anybody nasty. I've had a couple call up and said, we get your letters all the time, but they're getting letters to do it because I only sent one down. And then I get a number. Like I got somebody called yesterday 4 times, and I guess they didn't want to leave a message. So I figured, well, if they don't want to leave a message, they're not that interested. So sometimes I got to get over that hurdle and just say, hey, I saw you message on my ID, because my message when they call says, hey, I'm sorry, I'm either with a client away from the office or with a client, blah blah, on the phone or blah blah blah. But your call is very important to me, and some of them respond.
Well, first, what I always do, I use the guts method for when I don't want to sound like I got to be careful here because I'm very proud to be a salesman. I'm the only father in the world. When his daughter was born and I held her in my arms for the first time, I said, that's my daughter, the future salesperson. Okay. I mean, nobody says that. Because I love sales. It's always put food on the table. It's given me a very nice lifestyle. it's made me independent because I know as long as I'm near a phone or some kind of communication, VoIP or anything, I can make money today as long as I'm near a phone. And that's how strongly I believe on sales. But that's professional, modern gut sales. Most sales, in my opinion, it's old-fashioned. It's not that it's bad. It's just so everybody knows what you're doing. It's like playing poker and showing everybody your cards on the table. They know what you're going to do. They know, and then they start treating you. I don't think they treat when they know you're a salesperson. I don't think they treat you as well as they would treat a friend or another professional or a coworker. I think they believe that when you're a salesman, they have the right to lie, to manipulate you, and to be rude to you. It's the 11th commandment.
Yep.
One fell off when Moses walked down the mountain. You know, you can still get into heaven by treating salespeople crappy.
Yep. It's okay. You always told me it's okay to lie to a salesperson.
It's always okay to lie to a salesperson. So, okay, I guess the rule is what is their perception of us when we talk to people? What's their perception of us? And, you know, I get these calls all day long. You know those calls with that delay?
Sure.
And somebody in India, Pakistan, or Guam is waiting for a light to go on, and then they pick it up, but it takes them 5-6 seconds.
Yeah,
and that's how I usually know to hang up right away.
Yeah, right. Me too. I hang up right away.
You know, or I get somebody calls me up. Oh, can I speak to the person in marketing? No. Click. I mean, I already know who they are and what they're about. So I guess the rule is don't give them that advantage right away. Mm-hmm. Because what you're selling, your product or service, may be of interest to them. Second thing is I always act like I'm getting back to them. So when I leave a recording, I would say something like, beep, hi, Mr. Andrews, Claude Diamond here. I got your phone number in front of me, so I'm getting back to you. You can reach me at 970-726-7979. I look forward to your call and finding out what this is about. Mm-hmm. And you're going to cut that message, and you're going to say what, John?
God, did I call you?
Hi, hello, Diamond Consulting Group.
Yeah.
Are you going to call me, first of all? Before we do the role play, what emotion am I going for here?
Well, what emotion are you going when you call and leave the message?
I say, hi, John, I'm getting back to you. I don't know what this is about, but I always like to get back to people.
Well, you're trying to get me to kind of apologize because I can't remember calling you, I think, or something in that vein where you're
close.
Guilt. Yeah.
Guilt. Anthony, do you know what emotion am I going for? One word.
Well, I know you always go for pain. You're not there yet.
It's kind of a pain. It's a mild pain. It's curiosity, really.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to pick up the phone and he's going to say, who the hell is this Claude Diamond? Honey, did you call this guy Claude Diamond? He's saying I got hold of him. What's he going to do? How strong do we do? Me, if I got a call like that, I'd call him back. I might get mad or something, but I'm going to call him back. Mm-hmm. Right?
Well, I'm talking specifically about the hang-ups. You know, the don't leave a message. I called the other ones back right away. I called them right back.
Well, let's say I call you back. Do I know your name or anything like that?
No, I mean I'm looking some of them up in reverse, but no, I don't.
Okay.
On the reverse pages, just see if I like the property before I bother.
Say hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. This is Claude Diamond. You just called me.
I did.
Is this
I don't know. I don't know a Claude Diamond.
You're 1-2-3-4-5-6-7, right?
Yeah, that's my number.
Yeah, you just called me. I'm sorry. We got disconnected or something.
Oh, okay. Well,
how can I help you, sir? This is your name.
Well, I didn't know. I don't know if I didn't pick up your name. I thought it was John or something. But it's I got a letter from you about buying my house. Buying a house.
Oh, it's about real estate. You don't have a house for sale, do you?
Yeah, maybe. You know, if the
well,
price
I mean,
is right.
maybe it's kind of like being. It's
Yeah.
like pregnancy. Yes or a no. I mean, is it for sale?
Actually, it's my mother's house. You know, she's failing and lost her husband last year. And where do you keep getting all these addresses and everything? I keep getting these letters from you all the time.
I'm not sure what letters, sir. You've got to help me here. I'm just a guy who looks to. I'm an investor. I look to buy homes, and if you want to sell it to me, that's great. If not, I can get off the phone.
Well, I got this letter that says, "Hi, I want to buy your house at X, Y." You know.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That letter. You mind if I ask you a few questions about Mom's home? Maybe I can help you. Maybe not. Maybe we can do business. It's okay to say no to me.
Okay. Yeah,
what?
Sure. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I just want to buy your home.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, we still got a challenge getting Mom out of there, but okay.
Okay, time out.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do, what did I do? Somebody doing a
reverse engineering call,
reverse engineering. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
Redirection.
So, redirection. Yeah. I'm thinking of the word. That reverse engineering came to my head because I had that come up today. But that's what I'm, I mean, obviously some people call. I had a very pleasant message today. A guy said, "Hey, I keep getting your letters all the time." It was a voicemail. And, please take us, my wife or my mother gets these letters and she doesn't like getting them. Well, I only got one. And he said, just please take us off the list. I said, and
I'd be glad to. Can I ask you a question before I get off the phone?
Well, I didn't call him back. So, cause he said, please, but I could call. I'm sorry for calling you. I thought I could use that to say, gosh, I got your message. Thank you. I would be happy to take you off the list, but you mentioned multiple letters. I only sent out one letter. So, it must not have been me. I don't know if. So anyway,
I think the three most powerful words are "I don't know." When I plead ignorance, why are we talking? Why did you call me? Did we get disconnected? I just have a lot of fun. I stay out of that salesy mode. Did anybody wake up this morning and say, "Oh my gosh, I hope I talked to a salesman today"?
Oh yeah.
So we can't act. We can be professional salespeople, but we got to be careful about the role we take, the perception, because perception is reality in business.
Absolutely.
It always is. I mean, whatever perception, my old buddy Bernie Madoff, whatever your perception was of him, we know he was an evil person, a bad person. But what was the perception of that guy? He was a brilliant salesperson.
Brilliant. He was a brilliant investment manager.
He was genius, misguided, but a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He knew absolutely how to raise the emotion. What emotions did he raise in people? Where he totally controlled them. They shut off their brain and their intellectual side completely, and they totally greed.
It was greed.
Greed. Is greed an emotion like curiosity?
Absolutely.
Oh gosh, yes. How many people? I mean, we see the news at night of people who gave away their life savings, or Consumer Reporters and stuff, and you always see the people on TV, and you go to yourself, how could someone do that? Why would any person do? And I'm trying to think of some examples. There's has everybody here received the letter from the prince in Nigeria, and his father was deposed and put all his money in the bank, and he needs my help with a $250 money order?
I thought I was the only one that got that. Give me other people.
I've got to tell you, and I won't mention a name, that man was a client of mine afterwards, not before. After he did that. He actually sent money, thousands and thousands of dollars, to Nigeria to build a apartment building, and with no due diligence, no substantiation or anything. I mean, it's a sad story,
I got a bunch of those myself back to Nigeria.
And I hear and read those all the time. And I always ask people, what did you check references? Did you do a little due diligence? Oh no, he's a good guy. I know. Oh, I got another story. Very famous company. I'm not going to mention their name either. I don't need any nasty letters from lawyers. But it was a pretty big company in the Southwest. Something rich company. That's your clue. And one of my clients told me all about how wonderful they are, and I did a little research for him, and I found out the president, the guy who started the company, was indicted for insurance fraud and something else. I mean, he had a criminal background. Mm-hmm. And I told him to, and I said, before you get too involved in this company, I said, the guy who's running this thing, he's not the most kosher guy. He's not the most righteous man in the world. He's had a lot of criminal issues, car theft and insurance fraud. And guess what the reaction was to me?
Oh, he's a great guy.
he got mad at me.
Oh.
He got mad at me. When I told him this, he says, well, hey, I've heard that too, and everybody deserves a second chance and everything. I said, well, if someone's truly remorseful, I guess they could deserve. I can give them a second chance. But do you want to really risk your family security and future and savings on a person who's proved himself, not genuine at one time in his life. I said, I'm not that much of a gambler.
Yep, understand.
That's
What?
the greed.
That was the greed. So, these emotions can be negative or positive. For a gut salesman, it can be a very positive thing. I've always, my analogy, I always attribute it to Kreskin, the mentalist. Wouldn't it be, how great would our business be, any business, if we were mind readers?
Yeah, it'd be really cool, handy.
If we read the guy's mind, we knew what they were thinking. They have this much money to spend, and they want it in blue and everything. And then we read their mind, and we said, "Hey, Mr. Prospect, I can work within your budget if it's like X amount of dollars," which I just read his mind, "and I have it in blue right now if you want it." And the guy said, "Wow, that's exactly what I needed." Boom, close them. Wouldn't that be great? Well, we can't read minds.
Yeah. Right.
So what's the next best thing? Anybody here ever watch Monk?
No, I never heard of that one.
Monk was a TV show. It was on for, 11, 12 years. It's still on Netflix and some of the other old stations. Monk was a guy, he had obsessive compulsive disorder. He was a retired policeman. And but the thing is, he was able to observe things that everybody else would miss. He could see minuscule little things. Anthony, you know it better than me.
That show is hilarious, but I mean,
what I've been thinking about a lot in the last few days is Columbo.
Columbo, very good.
And the way Columbo always, he played so dumb, and yet he was so brilliant, and he got all the answers he ever wanted.
Right.
Yeah. And he always, what he would do is, he was kind of what we'd call in New York a schlub. Kind of he had his hair messy, had a wrinkled raincoat, had the cigar. It wasn't an impressive guy, right? And he kind of used the perception as reality. What was the perception of usually the murder suspect on Columbo?
Perception.
What do you think they perceived him as?
As a dummy.
As a dummy.
Yeah, a doofus.
A doofus.
Yeah.
A big.
And they were smarter than him, and they could outsmart him.
And did he? And that was part. I think he did that on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and why did he do that? To get them to let down their guard, to be overconfident. Right.
Absolutely.
They usually gave him the clues because they became overconfident with the guy.
Yeah.
And there was always the famous moment when he's in the room with the murderer, and the murderer's real confident and everything. This guy will never catch me. Columbo goes for the door, and then he goes, "Oh, one more question."
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
One more question. And that was the zinger.
Yep.
And
just when they thought they were off the hook and he was leaving, one more question.
You know what? Sales is a lot like that. And Mr. Prospect, I know we're not going to do business today, but you mind if I ask you one more question? You and I are talking today because you've got a house you've lost 30% in value. You've had it on the market for 3 years. You've moved to another house, and now you have 2 mortgages, and you've gone through 3 realtors. My question is, how can you stand it, sir? Why can't we work together and let me show you how to get rid of this property in the next 30 days and get this burden off your back, or tell me to get out of here? It's okay to say no to me. Sir, don't you want this stress about this property off your back? Or do you want to continue making payments or worry about it being vacant or flying back and forth from Florida to Ohio? What should we do, sir? Boom. See, off the role play. It's over when I say it's over. And I keep coming back to those emotions. And when you ask those questions, if you can raise those emotional or psychological values and keep stressing them, and keep going back. It's over when you say it's over, or when you find out they are not motivated, or when they're not emotional about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. You can't do business with everybody. I think I'm the only sales trainer who says that. What does every sales trainer says? That everyone's a prospect, right? That's BS. That's nonsense. Everybody is not a prospect. Some people don't need what you're selling, don't want what you're selling, can't afford what you're selling, and don't have the character to give you the most tenuous of most minuscule commitments. You can't sell everybody. You might sell them tomorrow, but you can't sell everybody today. And isn't it nice when you make that decision rather than getting rejected? all the
That's
time.
beautiful.
It's the truth the way I perceive it, because I used to be a really lousy salesman. I don't know if I was so lousy as I was traditional, and I'd keep going back to people and I'd say, let me tell you about my bells and whistles, and the price goes up on Friday and we got a great deal right now,
Yeah.
and here's my bullet points, and very
Or you,
little
or you go to the
qualification.
webinars and they start out where it's $47,000 and you get it's $997 every time. so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Um,
that's
I get people every day call me up, and the first thing I do, I set that agenda with the baby steps, and then I go real strong into qualification. Whereas the traditional salesman, the old school, old fashioned salesman, what do right away when they get in front of a prospect?
they try to build rapport first of
A
all.
little rapport and bonding, which I don't agree with.
Right.
I think when you meet a stranger who's too friendly, maybe this is me, okay? I think when I meet somebody who's a stranger in a business setting who's a little too friendly, um, I think they want something from me. I think they're being disingenuous. I think they're thinking that I'm a big dummy, and that if they schmooze me enough, that I'll just hand over my wallet to them.
Even
Is that
subconsciously,
me? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Anthony.
it doesn't feel right.
I don't mind a friendly person. I like friendly people, outgoing. But when I'm in a business setting and someone's too friendly, what's your perception? What is your perception, John?
Well, I think you're more guarded. I'm a poor judge of character by some of the people I've been taking advantage of me. But
well, you're an honest man, though.
I think you're.
You cracked me up.
I think you are more guarded. And pardon me.
You cracked me up with that. I've never heard anyone say, I'm just a poor judge of character. I'm the same. We've all made mistakes. And I'm always. I'm an optimist. I always think the glass is half full. My wife says I'm naive. I always say, I always look to the better side of people. She's usually right all the time, damn it. But
right. Agreed. So
go ahead, John. I interrupted you. It was funny though.
No, I don't even remember the question now. So what were you asking me?
I think we're going all over the place here, but I think when someone's a little too friendly.
Oh, too friendly up, yeah.
And I know a lot of sales trainers are saying rapport and bonding and sell yourself before you sell the product and all these cute little things. And I think we've all heard it before. I think I've been, it's not my first time to the rodeo. So when I get that kind of salesman in front of me, it's okay to be pleasant. I'm not saying be rude or unpleasant, but some of them really go over the top. And, how about those Padres or golf scores or whatever, And to me, I always ask the question, why should someone buy from me today? Why should someone give me, this today? And, that's the psychology. That's what the kind of the chess game in my head is. What do I need to do? What do I have to create to make that person want to buy from me, rather than feeling pressured or manipulated to be sold? And I learned this from my mentor. This guy was so brilliant on the phone. He was a genius. I used to see him close real estate deals in one phone call. I mean, I was working for Swift Premium. I couldn't close contracts on hot dogs or bacon in small grocery stores. Okay, and this guy was making more money in one phone call than I made in years sometimes. It was like, what do you call that? A real sudden awakening, an epiphany, a revelation. All of a sudden, I said, "Wow, how does someone do that on the phone and make all that money?" And I'm in my car, in my suit, and I'm driving all over Manhattan in traffic. I can't find parking, and I hate my job, and I'm not making any money, and my rent is 2 weeks late. And here's this guy making all this money on the phone. And I'm going, oh my gosh, why can't I do that? And I started listening. And I saw that he asked a lot of questions. Rather than give a presentation all the time, he'd ask a lot of questions. And some of them, the real tricky part was, the tricky part was he'd ask questions that I never heard a salesman ask before. He'd go in the Anthony and I were role playing before, and I said, "Well, what's the difference between you and Jenny Craig or Weight Watchers or something like that?" And Anthony did a really smart move. When the prospect invites you to attack the competition, what did you do, Anthony, in that role play? Remember?
Yes. Well, I said that though they're a very reputable company and they've been around for a long time, and I'm sure they could help you, but what would you need in a situation like that? And they brought it around to a question at the end.
And then as the prospect, and this happens more often than not, as the prospect who asked what's the difference between you and them, I started attacking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than you do it, which I think when the salesman attacks his competition, it looks very self-serving. It looks very self-serving. A little early for vodka, isn't it, Troy?
No.
Good old water, my friend.
I know. And these are going back to that psychology of why people should do business with us. What's their perception of us? How do we get them into that? I call it the environment of success. How do I get them into that little bubble where they say, "Wow, this guy's making a lot of sense. He's talking to me like I'm intelligent. He's acting professional like my doctor or lawyer. He's not doing the price goes up on Friday and all these tacky, obvious things." Because it always goes back to, why should that person buy from me? Because their problem is so great enough and they're so emotionally invested in this problem. It is of such a concern that they want to take an immediate action. And that's what I'm trying to create. I want the guy who can say yes today. I'm a today guy. I used to be a tomorrow salesman. You guys know the difference?
Sure.
I've been a tomorrow salesman.
I was one for years and years. And you know what they'd say to me? You guys have heard this before. Probably Troy hasn't. They say, "Mr. Diamond, this looks great. We're going to give it our highest consideration. We're going to go over their stuff. I'm going to talk with my spouse, on my board of directors. I'm going to light a candle at church and talk to my dog when I'm walking. And I'm going to pray on it a little. And sometime in next week or 2 weeks, let's get back together and review this. But you've been great. Thanks for the information." And they'd say all these things one way or the other. And I'd go back to the car and say, "Yeah, man, I got it. I'm going to make a sale here." You know what I got, don't you?
Mm-hmm. It's just a brush off. So you feel good about, you think there's a chance, but the reality is, 99% no chance.
The reality is nothing, because most salespeople, and this is some of the hardest things for me to teach, is for the salesman to show leadership, not bully, not high pressure, but act like when you go to your doctor, your lawyer, any professional, they don't know what's hurting or what your legal issue is or anything. They don't mind. Do they? When you go into your doctor's office, say, "Hey, John, glad you came, man. See that? Harvard Medical School, baby. And I'm having a special on back surgery. Price goes up on Friday. Hop on the table here, baby. You won't feel a thing."
Yeah.
Your doctor doesn't sound like that. Your lawyer, you come into your lawyer. "Hi, John, what's the problem?" And you say this or this. "I got this letter from the IRS," or something. God forbid, John.
No, it does.
But I got this letter from the IRS. Oh, well, let me look it over. And John, we need to take care of this. This is a serious matter, but I have a lot of experience in this area. I think I'll call them. I'll write a letter on your behalf if you want me to. And hopefully in 30, 60 days, we can nip this in the bud so it doesn't go to a hearing or it costs you a lot of money and penalties. If that's what you want to do, John.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to say?
Well, how much is it going to cost me?
John, does it really matter what it costs you? This is the IRS, baby.
Yeah.
John, I wouldn't mess it. You can think about it, but the IRS will not go away. What I'd like to do is get going on this now. I understand cost is an issue. I'm willing to finance it or whatever we can, but I think the seriousness on a 1 through 10, John, I give this a 12. We need to take care of it right away. But that's your decision. Where would you like to go from here?
Yeah, then your pain is up there.
I mean, I just raised the pain bar, the agony, ecstasy, whatever you want to call it. And you're going to me, boy, I want to trust this guy. I hope he's reasonable in his prices. And, I got to take care of it. Go ahead, Troy.
John most likely has this nasty old pit in his gut going on that's just I mean, he wants to probably throw up at this point when it comes to something like the IRS, and
Right.
and that attorney's going to move him right into saying yes 99% of the time.
I always use the dentist analogy, and I have my next door neighbor in San Diego is a dentist, and I always tell him about this, and he always goes through, do you have to always use the dentist analogy? You know, and he's also a professor at SDU. He teaches other dentists, and I always say, and, and I always tell him, do you know anybody who ever had a toothache? I mean, a bad toothache, and did not go to the dentist today? Was money an object? It's blank check time. When you have, if you're a crybaby like me and you have a toothache or something like that, how long are you going to fool around with that thing? Me?
Yeah.
I like your Christmas example in the CD I was listening to, the toothache on Christmas.
Yeah. It's
guy can charge whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, it's blank check time. Or even another, I shouldn't even be recording. I'm recording this. This is I had a little guilt about this one. I had a deal once on a real estate, and I had a guy, and you know I do a 1 through 10 motivation scale, and I couldn't get this guy over a 5 or a 6. He was a nice guy, but I just couldn't get his mojo going. And then I finally say, hey, before I go, why are you really, you know, your place is pretty nice here. Why do you want to get into this? Why do you want to not take advantage of this other property I have? Why don't you not move on it? And why are you even looking? That's what I said. And he said, you know, you see all this concrete around me? I got 2 kids. And when I was a boy, I grew up on a farm with barefoot, with grass between my toes and fresh air and everything. And he says, I don't want my kids to grow up in this concrete stuff. And I said, well, suppose I could get you into a property. I have a property. It's in the Bergs. It's got grass. It's got parks nearby and everything. And I think, you know, think about your kids having what you had when you grow up. Isn't that what you want? So if I can make the numbers work, would you like to see this property? And it was over. In that split second, it wasn't about him. You talk about it as children. He becomes very emotional, and it was over. We ended up doing business. Was that fair or unfair? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was his needs. I was just addressing them. But once I knew once I knew we were dealing with his children and how he felt about them having a more of a natural environment, it was over. I was in total control. You know, and that's what you can do with the system sometimes. But the rule is, if there's no pain, there's no gain. If you can't find the trigger, what makes this person take action today, then you have to make the decision that you're not going to do business with them today. You know, give them some information, politely excuse yourself, maybe follow up at another time period. I've had a lot of people come back to me later on when their motivation was much higher, but sometimes you just can't get a rise out of them. And if you can't get somebody emotional involved, they're too intellectual, you're not going to close that person today. Isn't that nice to know that, though?
Yeah.
And I don't care if you're in real estate or health food or commodities or whatever we're talking about. People make those decisions very quickly when the psychology is right, when the emotion is strong on it. Some people do make decisions intellectually sometimes. I'm not saying this is perfect, but usually an intellectual decision takes longer. True or false?
True.
That's what I've always seen on it. Whereas the guy who gets him, you know, did you ever get in a situation? I'm trying to think of a situation where, John, you know this one. When I was in New York City, my cell phone broke, and I had a lot of phone calls. And I think, was I on the phone with you or somebody? And my phone broke, and I couldn't continue our conversation.
Could have been. I don't recall.
Anyway, my phone broke. My business is very phone-centric, and this phone's been giving me trouble. The week before the trip, I knew the phone was giving me trouble. I went to the Verizon store. They serviced it, said they fixed it. Same problem happened again with this phone. And I was on the phone with a relatively new client, and I lost connection. I went right away to the Apple store and spent $300, you know, just to drop immediately. I went to the store and bought a new Apple phone right away. And, you know, it was just a snap. I was mad because it was a new client. It was a good client. It's my whole business. And I made a very quick emotional. I didn't really need an Apple phone. I love Apple products and everything. But right away, I just bought it. Boom. Here's my plastic. Give me a phone. Can you turn it on now? Problem solved. Total, very little logic, a lot of emotion. I was mad. When you're mad, you're emotional. Sometimes you make good decisions, sometimes bad, right?
Right.
Okay, well, how do we use that in sales?
You don't want to use it in trading because emotion kills you in trading. So I can tell you that.
Yeah. The guy who it's the same for gambling, right? Don't they say when you?
I guess I don't gamble, but
I don't gamble either anymore. I lost too much money. You know, I finally figured out who was building those big casinos in Vegas. It was me.
Yeah.
I walk into.
You want to be the bank, not the casino.
Yeah,
or the casino, not the player.
Exactly. But I think when you get emotional about in a business, anything, you're shutting off your intellect to a strong degree. You know, for some another part of our body is working differently than this part on the side.
Yeah.
So
when you're real young and in college, a different part of your body works instead of that part. But
that's right.
That's another day. But similar.
So it's very on it, truth be told, a young man.
Yeah.
It's hard to make very smart, prudent decisions sometimes when the libido is running the locomotive.
Right.
On that, it's very hard. You know. Big
Absolutely.
Yes. We're not going to go there. We're not going to go.
Troy, what area of the business are you in?
What's that?
I was curious what Troy worked on, or
Troy,
what area is he?
I'm sorry, I should have introduced Troy better. Troy lives in Provo. We just started speaking the other day. Troy impressed me because he told me that he used to sell door to door off a truck or something like that. And I love real salesmen. Tell us about yourself, Troy.
That's challenging.
Sure. I was, I was about 18 years old, and I was in my first or second semester at college, going for business administration, and I met this sales professional, a guy who was earning $250,000 a year, and I looked at him, and then I looked at college, and I said, heck, I can go start working with this guy and make $100,000 a year in the next 1 or 2 years, and what am I going to make when I leave college with a 4-year degree? That's it. College was over. I went and started working with the sales professional, and that was the beginning of my sales career. I went on from there. I've owned literally from the time I was in my early 20s till now. I'm in my early 40s. I've owned company after company for the last 20-some years now. I just had this, for a lack of a better way to say it, a long breakup of a 10-year relationship with a partner that didn't end well back in April. And quite frankly, I'm redesigning myself. I've been in the process of creating my own sales training company. And so as a result of what I've been putting together with my sales material, I got introduced to Claude. And so I am now, I got to tell you, and I certainly don't want to sound like a know-it-all. I have heard a lot of what Claude has said before. Okay, no ifs, ands, or buts. And I would probably say, guys, my weakest area, and this is what you actually need to be excellent at selling, my weakest area is really finding quickly the emotional hot button. The fact is that, guys, I think I have over the years, I have been able to find the emotional hot button, but it hasn't been as skillful or as designed as I would like it to be. It's been a little more haphazard than I would like the process. And I've always known that it's through questions that it's going to guide me through this process. And yet I've always attempted to figure out, hey, where's my weakness in this? Oh. So with that said, I've got a couple of other businesses I'm in the process of running. I've loved phone sales my entire life. I'm like, I feel like I'm like one out of maybe 100,000 people that will say they like the telephone when it comes to selling. But I absolutely love phone sales. I hate face-to-face because I feel like it's such a waste of my time going all the way to somebody's office or to my office, or I got an hour in between waiting for clients. If I'm at home, I'm on the phone, I'm in my office, I can just bang out the next project from my telephone. So
Right.
absolutely love telephone selling, and what I'm really interested in is I'm going to talk with Claude about possibly the idea of licensing one of his sales licensee things, and look at bringing my sales process forward using some of his material. So that and one other business I have, that's kind of a snapshot on what I've been doing for the last 20 years or so.
The word that came to mind, thank you for that, Troy. The word that came to mind was the finesse part of you don't want asking questions to people can be very, very abrasive.
Oh, and you know how many times I've been accused of, man, you're abrasive, dude.
And that's where you got to. That's where the practice comes in.
Yeah.
The only way to get good at this, there's no is I. You know, one of the reasons I like training people, because I have my real estate business and I have some books and packages I sell. I love the training part of my business because it forces me to practice what I preach every day.
I like
And it's the truth. And this comes by Paul Meyer used to use from SMI in Waco, Texas. And he used to say, Paul used to always say, spaced repetition. Okay? And spaced repetition was practice, practice, practice. You know? And hello, Linda. You're joining the group here.
Hey, I'm coming here. I'm just moving my where I was at.
Okay, good.
Hello.
Everybody say hello to Linda in California.
Hi, Linda.
You need to clean
Linda.
You need to clean your camera there when you get a chance.
I'm just kind of discombobulated here. I'm there in a second.
Okay, there's thousands of people watching your discombobulation right now.
That's okay. We're all in the same boat.
I know. You can't intimidate her. I love it.
I don't mean to purposely turn my back on you, but I got to roll a few options here and there before the end of the day.
Oh,
so,
you're going out to the golf course. Tell the truth.
No, I got a 3:00 conference call.
You know,
on this underwater property stuff, which is something I want to get with you on. But
okay. But I want to go back to what Troy said.
Sure.
Questions are the way we get answers. Questions are the way we create this motivation. But we've got to temper them with, and this takes a lot, with the finesse part. And finesse is really, we've got to make people feel okay. You guys know I'm big on transactional analysis and a lot of that stuff. And a lot of times we got to make people feel okay about us. Now, if we just ask them questions like a district attorney, like someone on a cross-examination, they're going to feel intimidated or pressured. Okay? Hi, Sharon. I think you got some noise in the background there. Sharon? Hello? Okay, I'm going to have to hang up on Sharon. Too much noise.
If you call her, I'll tell her.
Tell her that she has to hit her mute button because she's got too much noise in the background. And here comes Tony again, or somebody else has noise in the background.
Not me.
Okay.
I don't believe it's me.
What's up, Claude?
Hi there. Hi there. Welcome, Tony. Okay. Oh, look at all these people jumping in here right now.
Wow.
It's going to get crazy. Somebody has to hit their mute button. I think, Linda, could you hit your mute button or something? There you go. Okay, good. Hi, everybody. New people who join us. Hi, Tony.
Hey, hold on.
Did you bring some pizza?
Not yet.
Tony's in New York. Or New Jersey.
New York.
And Ryan C. is even with us.
Hey, Claude.
Hey, Ryan, say hello to everybody.
Hey, everyone. How are you guys?
Hi, Ryan.
Great.
Ryan is in San Diego, my favorite West Coast town.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty hungry, so you can have a fish taco for me today at Roberto's.
I'd love to do that.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Anyway, somebody's got that noise in the background. Linda, that might be you. Yeah, I think it is. Could you hit your mute button on your Skype? There you go. Thank you. I don't know what that is. I want to go back to what Tony brought up, though, the finesse part. If you just ask questions like crazy to people, Where were you on the night of September the 15th at 3 a.m.? We're back to Monk and who's the other?
Columbo.
And Columbo and all those guys. And no good. We need, we don't want to make people uncomfortable. We want to make them feel okay. So a lot of times it really depends on asking the questions and asking them the right way with what we call a stroke. So somebody asked me a question here. One of the new people came on there. Sharon, ask me a question.
Okay.
Now Sharon's having trouble where she is.
Hello?
Yeah, hi Sharon. We're not getting through to you
Okay.
too well. Ask me a question.
Ask you a question.
Yeah, why is the sky blue? Anything.
About the guts method?
Anything.
Maybe?
Ask me anything. Ask me anything.
I'm not really quite sure how to approach people with the guts method yet.
Okay, Troy, ask me a question.
Hey, how do you use this guts training system when you're calling people cold and you're calling them about a business opportunity? How do you break the ice and get in and not sound like a salesperson?
That is such a good question. And thank you for asking that. It makes my job a lot easier. Okay, time out. What did I do? What was my prelude before I got into answering your question?
You gave me a compliment.
Right, a good one, didn't I? I gave you like you're a little boy and you came home with a B+ on your Friday spelling bee. Nice going, Troy. Booby, we love you. We're going to hang this up on the refrigerator, right? My son's 21 years old. He just got an A+ in his statistics class in college. He's 21. I told him mail it home so we can put it on the refrigerator. It never changes. Okay? So your people love to feel okay, don't they? So when you ask me a question, I'm going to you and I'm saying, Troy, God, what a smart guy you are. What am I doing to your ego?
You're making me feel good. You're inflating my ego.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. I'm making you feel good. I'm making you feel real good, and that's kind of, isn't that part of sales? Without being, we were talking earlier that a lot of sales is about. So many salesmen are into the rapport and bonding and being real obvious. And they talk about baseball scores and golf clubs in the corner and how about those Padres, and God forbid if they're a really dumb salesman, they're going to talk about religion and politics and things you don't talk about at dinner. Okay, because now they're opening up. Did you ever get at somebody and you accidentally opened up, you're there to do business, but you accidentally opened up a new conversation with them?
Yep.
Yeah, and what happened? You got distracted. You never talked about business, and 1 hour later, you still want to know if this guy can afford what you're selling on that. And that's kind of what happened there. So let's go back for a second to that role play I did with Troy here. Ask me the question again, Troy, and we'll start from the beginning, and then I'll go right into after I've done a little stroke. Then I'm going to do a redirection with you. And we'll talk about that for a moment.
Sure. My question, Claude, is how do you go ahead and use the gut system when you're cold calling and it relates to a business opportunity and the person doesn't really know even like why you're calling? How do you bridge the gap between what you want to talk about and qualifying questions?
Troy, that's a great question. Thank you for answering. You're making my job a lot easier. Super question, by the way. Boom. That was the report. Now, let me ask you something. Let me just ask you something, Troy. You brought that up for a reason. Could you help me out a little here?
Yeah, because if I don't really know somebody on the phone that I'm calling and I want to start to talk to them about qualifying questions, there almost seems to be a part where they're like, look, dude, I don't know who you are. I'm not answering your questions. Gotta go. Bye-bye.
And that isn't a problem for you in your business. It's not costing you money, is it?
Well, right now, I don't do any cold calling. Right now, the leads would be people who would respond to some sort of an advertisement. But I'm wondering how I could call business owners straight out of the phone book if I wanted to for business funding.
Okay. Now, off the role play again. I want to stop this and kind of break it down. Because there's no waste with the gut system. Everything we do for a reason. Whereas the amateur salesperson, I don't think they have a plan in their head. I know when I was in sales, I just wanted to get in front of people and tell them it slices, it dices, it makes julienne fries. And if you buy the bamboo steamer right now, we'll throw it all together for the amazing price of $19.95. How much? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, $19.95. I used to do the blue light special at Kmart. Ladies and gentlemen, that blue light in the automotive department is blinking for you right now. That's right, Pennzoil oil, 4 for $1. You know, I shows you how old I am. I'm talking about oil cans, 4 for $1. Yeah. And you know,
remember those days?
Oh gosh, do they still do the blue light special? I haven't been in a Kmart in a while.
I have no clue.
Kevin, do they still do the blue light special?
I don't go to Kmart.
Oh, you're a Walmart man.
Yes, I am.
I love Walmart. I love a story where you come in and there's a nice old person there and says welcome, or smiles at me. You know, the genius of Sam Walton.
What's Kmart?
It's Costco on steroids. Actually, I don't know. Kmart is it on the? Well, let's forget about that and go back to where we were here. Back to what I was doing with Tony. Tony, first I gave him a stroke. Then I asked him. I kind of went into a little dopey Claude. I don't really understand. Can you help me? Why is this a problem? Or something I said to that effect, right, Tony? Or Troy?
Yeah.
And you started redefining the issue for me. Did you hear it?
Yes. Yes.
You started explaining to me, Troy, why this is a big problem. And then we started like a little fire, like a little campfire, with a little kindling. And then I'm getting the big gasoline can and starting to throw the gasoline on. Okay, that's why my father used to always start a barbecue with gasoline. Kind of crazy, but he never had a barbecue go out on him. But so right away, why am I acting like I'm not? Don't most salespeople act like they're a know-it-all all the time?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm playing a little bit of a dope here. Why am I doing that?
You're basically you're engaging me to talk.
Oh, okay. And why am I doing that? What's my strategy here? What's my purpose?
Because you're going to use all that to close me if I'm qualified.
Yeah. Maybe get more information. Maybe get qualification. Maybe get you a little more emotionally involved. Get you out of that intellectual thing, which you are right now. Now, what I really want to do with Guts is maybe use some redirection or ask some questions that get you more and more emotionally involved. Do you think when we talk about money, your income, protection of your family, paying your bills, do you think that's emotional or intellectual?
Emotional.
Very, very emotional. And we go back to, who knows the $1 million rule, Kevin King?
Number one, we're in this business to make money today. That's number one.
I love this.
Number two, people make immediate decisions, immediate emotional decisions now, and they'll justify it later academically or intellectually.
Okay, they're out of order, and you got one more rule that I like.
Oh, one more.
You did 1 and number 3, but what's rule number 2? What do we sell?
Solutions.
We sell solutions to people, and we get them into such a state, an emotional state, that they want to make that immediate decision today or get closer to feeling that we are a person they can trust, someone who has the solutions for them, someone they can make a commitment with, rather than feel pressured and manipulated. That's what a gut salesman is all about, whether it's a small item or a very large item in real estate. It's about, I hate to sound like a control freak, but I've been in sales all my life, and I got to tell you, most of it, I felt humiliated, embarrassed. I felt like, you ever walk out of the bathroom with some toilet paper hanging out the back? I mean, that's what you're laughing a little too hard at that, George. That's kind of what I felt like. I felt like a little boy asking mommy if I could have another cookie out of the jar. No control whatsoever in the process. And what Guts gave me, I think more importantly than a system and control and a lot more money in my world, I think it gave me self-esteem. It made me feel better about myself. And can you put a price on that? When you have a business and you feel like you're selling, you're going to people, you're acting professional, you're in control, asking questions, and you can decide whether or not this is someone who's a higher probable prospect or someone you should fire. I'm on a soapbox. I'm sorry. I haven't, and I've only had one cup of coffee today on this. So let's go back. Let me go back to Troy there. So Troy, I kind of turned it around on you. I had you redefine your issues, and now I want to start making. I want to put you in a lot of agony. Okay, it's about agony or ecstasy, and I've got to get you there because you're still pretty intellectual. So Troy, if I understand, and we're going back in the role play, if that's okay, Troy. So Troy, if I understand you correctly, you're having a hard time talking to prospects or getting enough prospects or getting the results. Give me a little bit more here, Troy, so I can help you.
What I've been wondering this last few days as I've been introduced to the gut sales process is, how can I use this with business owners who either A, haven't raised their hand yet to ask me, talk to me? How can I use this to cold call business owners, or how can I use it with business owners? Because that's really my market. And yes, I suppose if I had a marketing strategy that I could get the business owners to raise their hand, that would ultimately make it a whole lot easier. But if I didn't, how do I just penetrate business owners and get them engaged with communicating to me when they don't even know really why I'm calling?
You have to, three things. You have to find a need, or you have to exacerbate that need, or you have to create a need. Nobody woke up this morning and said, gee, let me call up Troy in Provo, Utah, and give him my American Express card today because I woke up and I need the bamboo steamer or whatever Troy is selling. Nobody woke up that way. But Troy, whatever product or service you're selling, and let's say it's gut sales, for instance, gut sales training or real estate. Let's say gut sales, because I know you're interested in that. You know, you go to people and you ask them, what is your biggest frustration? Troy, what is your biggest frustration in sales with your existing customers? Are you getting enough prospects in front of you? Are you closing enough percentage of them? Is sales comfortable for you? What are you finding in sales that's the most difficult for you?
Well, there's multiple things, quite frankly. Number one, a lack of a clearly defined system. Okay. Number two, spending too much time with unqualified prospects. And number three, not being able to get to their emotional needs fast enough so I could assist them with a solution.
And these are problems that are, I think a lot of salespeople have. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do, for sure.
You think if you had a handle on actually having a system that helped you to close more people and spend your time with higher probable prospects and getting to the emotional triggers quick, what do you think that would do to your sales and your income?
You know, I've always known sales is $1 million profession, and the fact is that with tools like that nature, $1 million a year is very real.
Really? And the only thing setting you back is not having that system and working a little bit smarter and getting to those emotional trigger points faster, if I'm hearing you correctly.
I believe so,
and you
yes.
think your income, and if you had that system in place and you learned it and you really owned it, what do you think your income would probably go from where to where in what time period?
You know, I think 15 to 20 grand a month immediately is very doable, and getting it to 100,000 plus a month is conceivable within 3 or 4 months.
Okay. Off the role play, what happened, and you never know what's going to happen in a role play. Who's selling who right now? I always see
I'm selling myself right now.
It always say, actually, sometimes in the gut system, when you ask the questions the right way, the prospect turns into the salesman. Kind of a transference occurs where the prospect starts saying, yeah, I want to make more money, and this is my problem. I need a system. And prospects are wasting too much time. I need unique prospects, qualified prospects, and I need to get them emotional. And these are the things I need. Is he telling me what he needs? Is he selling me? He's making it easy for me in the sale, isn't he? So all I have to do now is show him, eventually get a tentative commitment, qualify him for money, and then if I get that tentative commitment, then I go to the presentation, which for most salespeople, what's the first thing they do?
They try and present.
They present right away without actually having any idea who this person is, what they need, or what emotional state they're in, rather than intellectual. And the beautiful thing about this system is we don't give the presentation until we're ready to close the prospect. It's the third part. It's the third staircase it's the third step in the staircase of success. So now, just to go back in the role play and show you how I'd go into the close or get a tentative commitment, I'd say, so let me just ask you something, Troy, and by all means, it's okay to say no. I'm here to help you to increase your sales. But if through my gut system I was able to teach you how to do this in the next 30 days to get you more prospects, more qualified prospects, so you could close, where you could raise their emotional state in maybe 3 to 5 minutes. We even give you a little timer here, little 3-minute egg timer, stole from Mom's kitchen. If I could get you to that point and you would feel comfortable, what would happen next?
Breaking up.
I'm sorry.
Lost you.
No, I'm here.
No, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can still see you, but I think it's
Breaking
slowly
up.
dropping one by one.
Oh, really? Oh, darn. It looks like we lost Tony. Looks like we're here. Let me.
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I can see Troy, Rose, and George, and you, Claude, but I think they're slowly dropping.
Okay.
I can see you fine.
Skype is only good for so long, and last time we did this, I think we got in about 90 minutes, which is we're getting close, and then for some reason Skype has a system that kicks in. But
what time did you guys start? I thought you started at 2.
Oh, 2 o'clock. What times? We started at 10 o'clock Pacific time.
What? See, I'm 2 o'clock Eastern time is what you told me.
I know. And
Tell me 11 o'clock Pacific time, because I called early last week.
Even mentors make mistakes. I'm sorry. We're gonna the time we're gonna do is 10 o'clock Pacific, 11 Mountain, 12 Central, and what is it? And what is anything left?
Eastern.
Yeah, Eastern.
Eastern would be 1 o'clock then, or 2?
1.
1 o'clock. That's right. Okay. Anyway, that's the way I'm going to do it. And I'll let you know ahead of time before we do this. We're still getting the bugs out of this system, as you can see. But let's go back to Troy in that role play. Troy, I kind of asked you a question, and I even told you it's okay to say no. And I regurgitated. I got to get a better. Someone give me a better word than regurgitate.
Vomit.
What was it?
Recap.
Vomit.
Recap. I like recap. Vomit. Thank you. Repeat. Recap was good. And I was going to go to Troy and just basically say, Troy, this is all the stuff you gave me. And here's a little inside tip. When you're talking to the prospect and you're asking questions, you want to get at least 3 to 6. 6 is brilliant. If you can get 6 true pains, and break them apart, and then recap them. Thank you, whoever gave me that word. Recap them a couple times. Then you can just go to that prospect and say, hey, if you found a solution to all these problems you gave me, Mr. Prospect, and believe me, it's okay to say no. I'm here to help you. But if you found something like this and it could turn your business around, make you more money, make you more confident, make your work smarter, make you have more fun in your business, this isn't anything you'd want to do and learn from me, is it?
No.
And boom, it's kind of like one of those little moments of truth. And do you also see the negative redirection I'm using? So Troy,
Yes.
how would you respond to that?
I got to be frank with you, Claude. I think it would be pretty extraordinary. However, the fact is that I've heard this a number of times in the sales community, in the sales world, and I guess seeing is believing, tasting is proof, and the reality is that would be great, but whether or not you can deliver that, Claude, I don't really know.
Yeah, there's always risk in things, isn't there? There's always, you have to feel like, at this point, you have to feel I'm part of the problem or part of the solution. You have to make a judgment. There's no guarantees in life. I can't do it for you. My mentor used to always say success begins when you take full responsibility for yourself and your actions. And you have to make a decision whether I can help you get to where you want to be or whether it's over. And that's a good point. Let me ask you one question before I go. Off the role play. It's a little technique I use where I'm dismissing the prospect. Have you ever heard a salesman dismiss the prospect? Anybody?
Usually not.
No, usually not. Why?
Because they're
scared.
They want to make a sale.
Oh God, they want to make a sale. This is a prospect. I've worked so hard to get this prospect. I mailed out John Andrews. What are those things you mail out by the thousands? Those little yellow cards or something.
Yeah, yellow letters.
Or something like that. And you employ 15 young ladies in the Philippines.
Yeah, yellow letters and postcards.
Yeah, yellow letters and postcards and all those things. And you work so hard to get in front of this prospect. Are you going to say to them, before I get off the phone, Mr. Andrus, can I ask you one last question or something like that? What's going on subliminally, or maybe not subliminally, in that prospect?
Oh God, he's gonna get away.
Oh yeah, Oh God, he's rejecting me. Does anyone want to be rejected?
Yeah.
Did anyone here ever ask somebody to dance or something in high school and they said no, and then they did that little giggle as you walked away? That cruel thing you girls do to us. And,
how about last week?
Yeah. Okay. Rejection is hard. I'm still whining about it. And the thing about it is, when we go to a prospect and say, "Wait, he's leaving me. Why does he feel so confident that he's leaving me?" And I think this is going on in their head in some form. So I go back to that. So let's go back, Troy. And Troy, before I leave, you have to make a decision. I'm part of the solution, part of the problem. Let me ask you this, Troy. Last question. What would you need from me in order to feel comfortable so that you could move forward? And so we could work and we could go back to teaching you a system, helping you close more sales, getting you more prospects that you qualify, and showing you how to reach finesse really quick and raise the emotional bar in your prospects. What would you like from me in order for you and I to make a commitment and move forward?
The reality is, Claude, is that I'd like to know a little bit more about your system.
Like what?
I'd like to know the process of formulating questions that you go through. I'd like to know really how you teach that process of formulating questions. I'd also.
Anything else? You don't mind if I write this down? This sounds real important. Anything else?
Yeah, I would say, we talked a little bit about a system. I'd like to know how your system looks. I'd like to see it laid out in front of me so that I can understand it a little bit better. Let's face it, Claude, I'm going to be real frank with you. I'm a buyer because I like to buy. Okay? I really love sales. I love sales systems. I just need to know it's a good decision for me before I, step. Plus, we need to discuss the price. Is it really affordable?
Well, let me ask you this. Suppose I could give you all those things you asked for, supply you with the information, supply you with references, supply you with books and materials, and have you talk to a few of my students. And we did something that fit within your budget and made you comfortable. What would you say to me next?
I'd say let's move on with this. I'd like to know some more information.
I'm sorry. What is move on? I'm not sure if I understand. My hearing aid fell out. What was that?
My hearing aid fell out. I'd like to go to the next step and get some more. I'd like to move this to the next step. Is what I'd like to do. Is what I said.
Next step is.
The next step is you getting me the references, you making me feel comfortable that you can provide the information, everything you just outlined.
And if I could give you all those things, by Monday morning, to your personal satisfaction, what happens next?
Yeah, I think we can do some business, Claude.
You think or you know?
If it all goes the way we're talking, I know.
What? I'm sorry, what?
If it all goes the way we were discussing it, then yes, we can do business.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This hearing aid, I got it at Kmart here. Okay, I think I deserve a round of applause. I think I deserve a round of applause for that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know what you learn in role play. I do know that he gave me somebody give me an analysis of that. I'll shut up for a minute. Tony or Anthony or Kevin or somebody jump in here. Or Linda?
It looked like to me you broke a little bit of a sweat.
Maybe a little. But did I go back? Was I staying within the system?
Yes.
You make
Did I break from the system?
no. You made sure you asked the pointed questions. You made sure you got details on what he actually wanted, and then you delivered it.
Did I give a presentation? By the way, did I give a presentation?
He still doesn't know what you're going to
He
give him.
still doesn't. He just agreed. He just gave me a tentative commitment, which I can use against him, and he still doesn't know what the hell he's buying. Okay? So is it important? So what else? Give me some more feedback on that. There was a lot of stuff. That was a great role play. Round of applause for Troy, by the way.
Yeah.
Because that was, he made it real tough for me. And that's good, because that was real world. Okay, and I don't care whatever we got out of this, you could apply it to real estate, commodities, health food store, lease purchasing, anything, because it's the same system works in all facets. Asking the questions, getting them emotionally involved, qualifying them up front in a organized step-by-step systematic way, and getting a tentative commitment. Once you've qualified, can we get that tentative commitment? And I think Troy gave me a real hard time, but did we get that commitment eventually?
Yep.
Then we give the presentation and we give all the other things he wants for the close. And we keep going back, and we would say something like, Troy, when we were speaking the other day, you said if I gave you this, this, and this to your personal satisfaction, we would move forward. Well, here we are. It's okay. What would you like to do next? You notice I never, by the way, do I ever ask for the order?
No, you always
What do you want to do?
you always say what's the next step? What are you going to do basically?
Why do I do that?
To make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, very good, Linda. To make them comfortable, to make them give me the order. See, the amateur asks for the order. What do they say at all the Tommy Hopkins and Zig Ziglar seminars? Ask for the order 3 to 5 times or something. Do they still say that?
Sure.
They say it all the time. Why do they say that? All salesmen must ask for the order constantly. I find it annoying when a guy keeps asking me for the order or does these little tricky closes and stuff like I'm a big dummy. Does anyone else feel that way?
Sure.
I think it's obvious. Isn't it better to make the prospect give it to you?
Make it seem like it's their idea. Yeah.
Oh, well, yes. It makes it seem like it's their idea. Do anybody here ever make a sale and it's Friday and you're jumping up and down and you get back to the office and there's that blinking on Monday morning, there's that blinking light on the voicemail or whatever you're using, and it's that prospect you just sold? Anybody ever get that prospect who changed their mind over the weekend?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me that that breaks my heart, because in my mind, I spent that money already, that commission, whatever it was, right? Anybody else has that happened to? It's happened to me a lot in the old days. And Max used to always tell me, there's no such thing as a bad prospect. There's only crummy salesmen. He says the reason they do that is because you thought you had a sale and you took the money in or the contract and ran, and you did not finish your job. And so you get that remorse when you pressure the prospect and then you leave them in that emotional state. But when they give you the order, it's a whole different thing. And then there's, who wants Kevin, do a role play with me here. We've done a sale on the real estate, okay? Just a quick, I'm the salesman. You're the property owner. We just did a lease purchase, okay? Kevin, I'm really glad we're doing business, and thank you and your wife for signing the contracts, and I think we're going to be able to move this property really well in the next 30 days. Do you have any further questions for me?
Well, nah, not at this moment.
Do you feel good? Do you feel good about this? I know this was a big decision for you and your wife. Do you feel comfortable with doing business with me and doing this rent to own for 3 years at $1,000 a month with 20% rent credit the first year?
Yeah, we're pretty good with it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you guys are going to be able, you're not going to call me up tonight or Monday morning and say you had a change of heart or anything like that. You're comfortable with us setting up this rent home the way we did the contracts. You've made a commitment to me. I've made one to you. We're all happy.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I don't see any problems popping up at the moment.
Okay, good. So we're on the same wavelength, and you're a man of your word. When you make a commitment, when you make a deal, when you shake on it, that's the kind of person you are, right? Because I'm the same way.
Obviously, I can't answer no to that.
You can't answer no to that. Okay, good. What did I just do, ladies and gentlemen?
You cemented the deal.
I did. I put it. Man, that baby is written in stone. Do you think there's any way he's going to call me up and say, Claude, no, we can't do it anymore? You think that's going to happen?
He can't lose face.
He can't lose face because you put him at a person. When you give your word, that's bond, and that's a little bitty move that has probably saved me so many. That ended all remorse, 100%. It ended all remorse that I ever had because I was getting a lot of people calling me up where I had to resell them again on Monday, or they had a change of heart, or they spoke to their spouse and backpedaled. And once again, back to good old Max, he said, you didn't take care of the business when you had the opportunity, when you were in front of that prospect. And so these are all the things that are our responsibility in the sales process. Did you ever think sales could be this complicated? So much stuff.
That's for sure.
But having said that, it's you guys have always heard me say it's $1 million skill. I know of no other skill. I don't care what product or service you sell, but if you have these skills of understanding why people buy and how to control the situation without tacky pressure or phony rapport and bonding and manipulation, you are now in control. And you're you have a blank check in front of you the rest of your life. That's what sales can give you.